few weeks ago, I did a video on this really cool, quick and easy virtual tabletop called Owlbear Rodeo. I've been using it for several months now, and I'm really liking it. It's just so uncomplicated. However, I got tons of comments on that video that amounted to, why would you ever choose Owlbear Rodeo over a tool like Roll20 or Foundry or Fantasy Grounds? They do so much more. But Roll20 was by far the most frequent comment, and I think it's a good comparison because Roll20 has a very popular free version and Owlbear Rodeo is also free. But anyway, I'll put some of the comments up here on the screen if you want to see them, and I will put a link to the video right up there if you want to go check it out and read all the comments. Lots and lots of good debate going on there. Now, in this discussion, I will not be arguing that one of these is better than the other. And I'm not trying to change people's minds that they should switch from Roll20 to do what I do and use Owlbear Rodeo. Absolutely not. I think that would actually be a really hard transition. I do hope to change the minds of those who might not be seeing why anyone would choose Owlbear Rodeo. Personally, I'm glad both of these tools exist and many other virtual tabletops. So let's do it. Hi everyone, my name is Nate and you are watching WASD20, a channel about tabletop RPGs and fantasy maps. As we jump into our side-by-side comparison of Roll20 and Owlbear Rodeo, I think this comparison is a bit of an apples and oranges situation. They are very different tools with very different goals, I think, and they have different target markets in my opinion. Yes, they are both virtual tabletops designed with role-playing games in mind. For those who don't know what that means, they'll both let a GM connect with players in a way that allows the GM to load in a map and tokens for monsters, and then the players can have tokens for their characters and control those. They both also have another important feature, in my opinion, which is a fog tool that allows the GM to cover up unexplored areas of the map. But in terms of the major difference at a glance, I think Roll20 is a fully featured virtual tabletop trying to be everything you need to run a D&D game, whereas Owlbear Rodeo is a bit more bare bones. For those who are used to Roll20, I can totally understand that you would look at Owlbear Rodeo and say, no way. I actually think it would be really hard for a Roll20 user in general to switch to something more bare bones if you've gotten used to some of those more advanced features. So what are some of those features that Roll20 offers that Owlbear Rodeo does not? I won't try to list them all here because the reality is there are quite a few and I probably will miss some anyway, but a few highlights here. Firstly, Roll20 can manage character sheets for pretty much all the most popular RPG systems out there. Roll20 also lets the GM load in monster stat blocks and make rolls for them in the app. Roll20 also has a tool that allows the GM to track initiative, which is pretty convenient. Also, you can actually buy rulebooks and modules in Roll20. I happen to have a press account with a few books, and when I load up one of the D&D adventures in my account, it actually loads up the map with all the monsters right there. This is really cool and can be a big time saver. Roll20 has more ways to organize your content into various campaigns. Owlbear Rodeo has a folder system, but it's just not quite as robust. Also, unlike Owlbear Rodeo, in Roll20 everything is saved in the cloud rather than on your computer, so you can access it from any computer. Roll20 also has far more assets right in the UI, including tokens and maps, and of course, like Owlbear Rodeo, you can import your own as well. There is also a built-in video chat feature in Roll20, so you don't need to use Discord or Zoom or Skype or anything like that, whereas with Owlbear Rodeo, you do. There's a lot more that's possible in Roll20, but those are some of the basics, and the gist of it is Roll20 is a robust virtual tabletop that just has more features than Owlbear Rodeo. Now, all of this does take more time to learn, but the payoff is that many of the burdens are removed from the GM when you're actually playing the game, when stat blocks and initiative are kind of taken care of to a greater degree. Now, I think everything I've mentioned here is true of the free version of Roll20, but there are also 2 annual subscription options that unlock more features like dynamic lighting, custom character sheets, API access that will allow you to create your own scripts and macros and run existing ones that help users unlock tons of other features. Now, I do have to admit, I am not a heavy Roll20 user. I have run 2 one-shots in Roll20, and I probably have about 20-ish hours in-game, which is nothing compared to most people. So, Roll20 users, please comment below if you feel like I'm missing any major features here or getting anything wrong. Maybe I'll even pin a comment down below with any corrections to what I've said. So, what about Owlbear Rodeo? Now, the basic things that Owlbear Rodeo has that Roll20 also has are the ability to load maps and tokens, organize them in folders. Players can join and move their own tokens. You can roll dice in both. You can draw on the map. You can measure distance, some of the basic things like that. But if Roll20 is more fully featured and has way more stuff, then why would I choose Owlbear Rodeo? Well, firstly, there are quicker load times and overall less resource use. Especially if you have a big map with lots of tokens and you are on a less powerful device, Roll20 can really slow down and there can be a lot of lag. And even on my pretty powerful computer that I recently upgraded, Owlbear Rodeo is just always far more snappy and responsive for me when I'm panning around the map or when I'm moving around tokens. Secondly, no account creation or login for Owlbear Rodeo. I can just go to owlbear.rodeo and immediately my stuff is there. Players don't need to log in either. I just shoot them the link like this and they pop right in. I know what some of you are thinking here. Creating an account on Roll20 takes like 30 seconds. Logging into Roll20, it's just automated. It saves your login. Yeah, that is all true, and I hope to address that further in a couple minutes. Now, in terms of saving, Owlbear Rodeo saves in your browser cache, which is actually stored locally on your computer. You can absolutely find that and back it up, but it's not as easy as Roll20 stuff saving to your account and readily accessible on any device. This is not really an issue for me as I don't want to store tons of stuff there. I just tend to travel pretty light as a GM and kind of live in the moment a bit more. And I also always play from the same computer. Thirdly, I just like the UI better in Owlbear Rodeo. I find it a bit more intuitive and just less clunky. The other day, I actually decided, you know what, I'm gonna dig into the Roll20 tutorials, and I spent about 20 minutes with that tutorial and found it incredibly frustrating. With Owlbear Rodeo, I didn't even need a tutorial. I just clicked around and found what I needed quite easily. Now, there is one exception to that. They actually changed the fog tool about a month ago, and that took me far too long to figure out, and I ended up having to go to Reddit, and someone answered my question, and then I felt kind of dumb. It is pretty easy. Now, again, the trade-off is that when I use Owlbear Rodeo, I do have far fewer features, but personally, I really only want the ability to load a map, move tokens around, and put some fog down to hide areas. The quickest and easiest tool that allows me to do that is the winner for me. So that's why I'm using Owlbear Rodeo. I want the digital equivalent of throwing my battle mat down on a table and putting some miniatures out. Now, some of you Owlbear Rodeo fans out there might be thinking that sells it a bit short. There are actually a few other features that it has that Roll20 doesn't. Firstly, it does work on mobile, and that's kind of a big one. It doesn't matter so much for me, but there are a lot of people who play on mobile or who don't have a good computer at home, and last I checked, Roll20 just does not work if you're trying to play from a phone or a tablet. I have tried Owlbear Rodeo on my phone before, and it actually works beautifully. It's so nice, really slick and easy. Secondly, you can use a drawing tablet or screen like my Wacom Cintiq to use the drawing tool in Owlbear Rodeo, whereas in Roll20, when I try to do that, it just doesn't work. Thirdly, it has a timer. I don't use this, I don't really care, but hey, it's there. So that is a summary of the two tools and what they offer in comparison with one another. I think these two are really for different styles of play in a lot of ways and different preferences. For the GM who wants a one-stop shop with more automation and wants more of a campaign management tool, I think Roll20 is the better choice there. And I gotta say, maybe someday I'll get there. Maybe someday I'll want that stuff, and if you talk to me in 6 months, maybe I'll even be a Roll20 user. Though I know by now some of you are probably screaming at your monitors saying, no, Fantasy Grounds, or Foundry VTT, or whatever your VTT of choice is. And yeah, that's totally fair. I have a few friends who swear by Fantasy Grounds, for example, and switched from Roll20. But honestly, I've heard a lot of really good things about Foundry VTT. I can't believe all the positive comments I've seen about it in the YouTube comments and on my Discord server. So I think if I'm going to be exploring a more fully featured VTT, Foundry might be the winner at this point, but I'll do a little more research and I welcome your suggestions down below. So anyway, between Roll20 and Owlbear Rodeo, for those wanting that whole host of features, Roll20 is your choice. So then who is Owlbear Rodeo for? Well, firstly, I think it's a great choice for GMs who mainly play Theater of the Mind, but occasionally want to pull in a map. Secondly, the no account, no login thing is great for one-shots. It's easy to invite people, and even non-gamers who might feel intimidated by a new account for some program, it's just really easy to say, hey, here's a link, here's the map. Check it out. You don't have to get them set beforehand. You can actually introduce the map mid-game by shooting them an Owlbear Rodeo link. That also makes it a great tool for improv GMs. You might have thought you weren't going to need a map for this session, but now the players pick this fight, and yeah, we kind of want a map so we can visualize the positions and stuff. So no account needed, just load up a map really quick, shoot them a link, and it'll load within their browser in seconds. And lastly, there's the GMs like me who just want the simplest route to playing online with map, tokens, fog. Done. But hey, I welcome your thoughts. Hopefully this helps some of you who are trying to figure out what will work best for you in running online games. And if it did help you, I'd love it if you could leave a like. That would be great. And I also want to thank the WASD20 patrons for their support. Patrons are people who support the channel on a monthly basis. I simply couldn't do what I do without them. They are the lifeblood of the channel. And they also get some pretty cool rewards. Things like weekly live map drawing streams with me, and they get access to campaign diaries for my live streamed Icewind Dale campaign. So if you want to join with them, head over to patreon.com/WASD20 and check it all out. All right, that's going to do it for this one, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care. You'll see me again very soon.